Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today I am doing a 2024 election prediction between Vice President of the United States Kamala Harris and Daily Wire host and commentator Ben Shapiro. So I just did Ben Shapiro versus Joe Biden election video a few days ago, and I figured while I'm on his name I might as well do Kamala Harris, the VP, as well. So first things first, I think Kamala Harris will start off with the states she'll win: Washington, Oregon, California, and Hawaii. I think Kamala Harris will win these states relatively safe. I think she would win the state of New York safe. I think the state of Illinois will also be safe for Kamala Harris, as well as D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Maine's 1st District. I think would all be safe for Kamala Harris. Now the safe states for Ben Shapiro. I think Ben Shapiro would win the states of Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, both North and South Dakota, all of Nebraska. Nebraska's 2nd District, I think, would go lean for Ben Shapiro. Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, South Carolina, and the state of Alaska, all safe for Ben Shapiro. Now, on to the likely states. I think Kamala Harris will win the state of Colorado, New Mexico, and Virginia, all in the likely column. I think all 3 of these states have been trending blue in recent years, and I think they'll vote for Kamala Harris between 6 to 10 points or so. So Kamala Harris wins these 3 states. I also think she'll win the state of Maine by about 7 points or so, putting Maine in the likely column. However, I do think Ben Shapiro would win Maine's 2nd District by about 5%, 5 to 6%, so just barely in the likely column, but there nonetheless. And now Ben Shapiro, I think, wins the state of Texas by about 6%, putting it in the likely column. I also think Ben Shapiro would win the state of Iowa and Ohio by about 6% as well. Barely in the likely column, but again, in it nonetheless. So Ben Shapiro is 190, Kamala Harris has 211, and this is where we get to the states that are the real battlegrounds where the election will be decided. So the states I'm putting in gray are the battleground states. Now, we're going to go I think we're going to go from west to east as I kind of started off. So first we'll go to the state of Nevada. Nevada is a state that I think Republicans could definitely contend in 2024, especially if Kamala Harris is the nominee for the Democrats. She isn't super well liked in the state or nationwide, to be completely honest with you. But I still think Kamala Harris would have enough support in a presidential year to win the state of Nevada by about a tilt margin, narrowly defeating Ben Shapiro in this state. Now we go to Arizona, where Arizona, unlike Nevada, Nevada is a Democratic state that is trending red, whereas Arizona was a Republican state that is trending blue. And given that, I think given the environment, even in 2024, I expect Arizona will continue to trend blue. And given that Kamala Harris, I don't think necessarily is the best candidate, I think she'll still be able to win the state of Arizona by under 1 to 2%. So, tilt Nevada, tilt Arizona, Harris is up to 228. Now we're going to go to the state of Minnesota, then we're going to go south after that. I think Kamala Harris would win Minnesota by about 3% to 4%, being one of the closest margins of Minnesota we've seen in recent years. I think Kamala Harris would still win the state of Minnesota. It's a state that, to be honest, defied my expectations and many political predictors and analysts' expectations, where it was closed in 2016. 2020 would be an interesting test of whether or not it got closer. It actually expanded for Joe Biden instead of President Trump. So I think Minnesota is enough to stay in the lean column for Kamala Harris in 2024. Now we go to the state of Florida. I think Ben Shapiro would win the state of Florida by about 3%, 2 to 3%, just enough in the lean column. Florida has been trending Republican really ever since 2016 and has shown pretty much no signs of slowing down. The governor election will be up in 2022. Unless something happens that I don't see happening so far, Ron DeSantis will likely win by a relatively pretty big margin in the state of Florida. So I think Florida will go by about 2 to 3% for Ben Shapiro. The state of Georgia, I think I'll do Georgia now. Georgia against Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is not Joe Biden. I don't think she would get the turnout support. I also think, I've seen this in a few comments, this is a very good and smart point. Georgia's new voter laws will be in effect by 2024 unless there's some sort of challenge that overturns them. They will be in effect, and also I don't think there will be mail-in ballots and stuff, so I'd expect the voting turnout to go down. That's not me saying there's anything like special about the mail-in ballots. I'm just saying Traditionally, in elections where mail-in ballots aren't widespread, the turnout goes down. So I would expect to see that in a state like Georgia, and I think Georgia would narrowly flip back to Ben Shapiro in that scenario. Joe Biden's not on the ticket. Mail-in ballots are reduced. That would probably bode well for Republicans in the state of Georgia. So Republicans win Georgia. Now we go to North Carolina, where I think North Carolina has been a very tight competitive state for about the last 15 years or so, and it will continue to do that. I think Ben Shapiro, Kamala Harris will go right down to the wire. Ben Shapiro will win by, honestly, maybe even under 1%. This is going to be very, very close, but I expect Ben Shapiro to narrowly win the state of North Carolina. We have 4 states remaining. First things first, I think the state of New Hampshire will narrowly go to Kamala Harris by about 3%. New Hampshire is a state where if you're very conservative or you have a lot of strong conservative values like Ben Shapiro, you might not fare too well in the state. A lot of the Republicans who have won the presidential election in New Hampshire have been more moderate like Republicans, and we haven't seen a Republican win it since George W. Bush. So I don't know if Ben Shapiro will do enough to win the state of New Hampshire. I think Kamala Harris will win by about 3%. Smaller margin than 2020, but 3% nonetheless. Harris says 242. Ben Shapiro is 252. I think the state of Wisconsin will go for Ben Shapiro. I think the state of Wisconsin will go for Ben Shapiro by about 1.5% is how I think it would end up going. I think on election night we would start off Wisconsin up, Ben Shapiro up by about probably 5 or 6 points, and by the end of election night it'll narrow down to 1.5 as Milwaukee and the Wow County start coming in. I think it will get very close, but I do think Ben Shapiro would end up winning Wisconsin in 2024 against Kamala Harris if this was the scenario. We move over to the right to Michigan. Michigan's an interesting state where it is trending red. It's been trending Republican for a while. However, the governor election of Gretchen Whitmer next year will be a big test as to how red the state really is trending. President Trump won it in 2016, lost it in 2020. I would expect the margin to be small, but I think Kamala Harris wins the state of Michigan by about 1.8, 1.9%, maybe even 2%. But nonetheless, going to Kamala Harris very, very closely, but Kamala Harris winning the state of Michigan. I think this election would come down to the state of Pennsylvania, where I think Ben Shapiro will actually be able to win the state of Pennsylvania by about 1% and win the presidential election, defeating Kamala Harris. I really see Pennsylvania going Republican because I'm basing the election off of right now and trying to forecast that. And I think the support for the Green New Deal and stuff has hurt Democrats in Pennsylvania. And I don't know if that'll necessarily hurt Kamala Harris too much, but it might be enough to drive out rural Republican voters, especially on the West Virginia border, that might turn out for Ben Shapiro, where some moderate Democrats might stay home if it's Kamala Harris the nominee. As polls suggest, Kamala Harris is not super well liked as the vice president so far. So I think Ben Shapiro will get to 281 electoral votes, making him the next president of the United States if this was the election prediction. Obviously, this one's not very likely to happen at all. Ben Shapiro has made no signs of running for president. And obviously, Joe Biden is still the incumbent president, so I would expect he's probably going to run in 2024. But you never know. These are always fun to do. So that's going to do it for today's video. If you're new to the channel, it's your first time watching one of my videos, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you really liked it. And if you're a returning subscriber of mine, thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. It means the world to me. Seeing you all coming back and seeing the views go up each time, it means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And yeah, that'll do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.